You are looking live at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which did not have a great day today, but it was a good day overall for the market. Today is July 11, Thursday, and the Nasdaq was down 364 points. You can see in here if I'll zoom in, 1.95% drop with above average, 9% above average volume, if that means a big deal to you. You can see the volume here. Ooh, it's going up on light volume days and selling off on high volume days. Um, anyway, when you see the index down, we'll call it 2%, you can expect your growth stocks to be down, 4 to 6%, 2 to 3 times the index. So that's the way it goes on the way up, and that's the way it goes on the way down. But the Nasdaq yesterday was 8.9% above its 50, and that was the furthest separation from this red line here in the entire rally. So it's getting, like I said, anytime it gets over 6, it's a little overheated and it likes to pull back. So what happened today, these are rising. This is the rising 10, a rising 21, and a rising 50. So if it just trades sideways, these moving averages are going to catch up pretty quickly. But when you fall 2%, you can see the difference right here. The Nasdaq yesterday is 2.5% above its 10, and now today closed just a tick above its 10, 2.1% above the 21. Now it's 6.5% above its 50. So just one day it gets back into a reasonable area. Maybe it'll pull back to the 10 tomorrow and bounce. Maybe it'll pull back to the 21 and balance. You just got to wait and see. But it's not horrible overall for the Nasdaq to relieve a little bit of steam here. A little bit of a selling pressure is good because it was really getting overheated, making new highs every day. Did it make a new high today? No, it didn't. 671. Yes, it did. Made a new high and then reversed lower. So that makes me want to come back to the 5-minute chart and take a look. Yeah, it opened a little higher and then sold off pretty much all day. Looked like a little bit of algo selling with the headline news on inflation, and so with lower rates, with the yields going down and the perception of the Federal Reserve is going to lower rates eventually. I don't know when, maybe September, but the market's kind of counting that in. So what happens is that the money rotates into the smaller, more riskier names. And this is the Russell 2000, which had a nice day today, up 3.5%, broke above this little downtrending line. So yeah, I don't know if this move is for real. And I didn't go out and buy a bunch of small cap stocks just because of one day. And it's done this before, and then it just fakes you out. So look at how many times it's done this in the last few years. It makes a run and then gives it all back. Makes a run and gives it all back, makes a run, gives it all back. So I didn't go out and buy a bunch of small cap stocks. I'm sticking with, the stocks that I perceive as leaders in certain groups like NVDA and Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk. And anyway, I'm going to go to the stocks because I like to trade stocks. I don't like to trade indexes. But I do acknowledge that, strength went to the Russell today. There was a lot of small caps making new highs. But anyway, Apple, still up on the week, 0.5%. It was down today, a little more than the index, still well above its 10 EMA here. So, just a little bit of profit taking in Apple. So not bad here. It closed at 1.8% above its 10. So Apple looks fine. I think Microsoft sold off a little harder, 2.5%, 2.5%, and it sliced its 10. And now it's just a tick above its 21. So how about that for the Microsoft? When you're going into earnings season, which we are starting next week, we're going to hear from Netflix and, a bunch of companies. Actually, even tomorrow, we're going to hear from some banks. You don't want to be at all-time highs going into earnings because everything's priced in, and it's hard to have an upside surprise earnings and have the stock move higher. Usually it's a sell the news event. So a little sell-off into earnings earnings season is not a bad thing here. Don't fret because the earnings is what drives stocks higher, and I think these companies are going to have strong earnings. Also, it doesn't take much selling here in these large cap stocks to fuel a big rally in small caps because they're so darn tiny. This is Google. This is down nearly 3%. It's a little more than the index. It sliced its 10 here a little bit today. It's a 0.5% below it. But it's had a heck of a run. This thing just went from what, 130. This recent run here from 130 to 190, now pulled back here, to 185. So I mean, you got to expect some profit taking. That's why I don't like chasing stocks. I like to buy them near bases. Now this is Meta, which was set up here with that 514.01, and it pulled back to its 21, which coincides with that old buy point. So I'm watching Meta here tomorrow. I'm expecting a move, 4% move to the downside today, which is twice the index. So that's kind of what you would expect with a growth stock. Like Meta Platforms, Amazon is having trouble with that 200 level. I mean, I think it will provide resistance for a little while, but eventually it'll, the dam will burst. It'll break through there. The more times that it knocks on that door, eventually that door is going to open. It's going to walk on through. Today, it just pulled back to its 21, slices 10, pull back to the 21, which is what, 193.13. The low is 192.86. So it closed at 30% of its daily range. So it's tiny little bounce off the 21. That thing is still looking good to me. And you want it closer. If you want to buy this thing, you want it closer to the buy point than chasing it above 200. So Amazon looks fine. What was the other one? Oh, NVIDIA. Yeah, I got to do some of these semiconductors. They've been on fire. All NVIDIA did today was pull back to its 10, right? Closed 128.13 is the 10, so it closed a tick below it, I guess you could say. 128.14. This one says 127.40, so I'm getting conflicting data here on market surge, but essentially back to the 10, and even it trades down to the 21. I would expect this one to be supported, fine support, but you never know. Let's take a look at some of the other semiconductor names. I'm going to take you down the negative road here, and then we'll come back on the positive path. This is AMD, which held up pretty well, only down 1% on a day when the index was down 2. Not bad. They had that deal with the AI lab from Europe yesterday. I believe they announced it, 650 million purchase. So AMD just forming the right side of the base here. That's all it's doing. Allowing the moving averages to catch up here as it's made this move from 153 up to 181. So AMD is looking pretty good. It's piquing my interest. ARM had a big move last week, and that just pulled back to the 10 today. So we'll see if it finds support. This is down 7%. That's what I would expect with growth stocks. The index down 2, this one's down 7. So 3.5 times the index. And this one's had a big move, right? Maybe it'll come back to that old buy point at 164 and give you another swing at a pitch here. Yeah, down 4% this week, 8% off the 52-week high. So ARM, keeping my eye on the ARM. Taiwan Semi just pulled back slightly, 3.4%, but still, above the 10 there. So these things that are trading above the 10, I mean, they're doing fine. You got to expect some sell pressure. Qualcomm now pulled back to the 50. They report earnings on the 24th. So, a little selling ahead of the earnings report is not bad. This is their last earnings report where it bounced nearly 10% and broke out of that double bottom base. So, maybe it forms a little, a base here around 200. And then maybe we can ramp higher with some strong earnings. We'll have to see what they have to say. They should have a strong earnings report. And one stock in the semiconductor that's confounding me is this SITM, C-time, and it's a thinly traded company, but you can see the volume, and it's going up every day, and it's a strong stock and a strong group. And there you can see on the weekly the breakout up 15% this week. So it's one stock that is bucking the trend today, and it's not a overly big stock, 3.5 billion market cap, and that's kind of the small cap wheelhouse right there. And I'm going to get to that in a minute, but first I have to look at some other stocks. Netflix is reporting next week on the 18th, which is a week from today, and it's selling off, pulling back. You know, if it pulls back near that old buy point at 639, that going into earnings, that wouldn't be bad, which kind of coincides with the 50 there, which is 643. So, yeah, down 3.5% today. You know, no harm done really. It had a nice base here, then broke out, ran up. Now it's just pulling back. We've seen a lot of that actually lately. CAMT, this one I've talked about how it, you know, pulls back to the 21 and finds support. Today it pulled back to its 10. Maybe it'll find support there. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it'll pull back to the 21. You get another swing at that stock. Don't leave your bat on their shoulders. Can't hit a home run that way. Super micro, not bad today, down 1.2%, better than the index. Just forming a base here. I would expect, you know, a little bit of short covering here before the earnings report on August 6th. And the last one was VRT, Vertiv. I had this one on a ready list. I like it above the 50 if it can just, you know, you could obviously see that it's consolidating in a base. If I go to the weekly here, you can see this consolidation pattern. Might need another week or two. It's been 7 weeks, but I like it above the 50 and just complete this side of the right side of the base. But they have earnings on the 24th, so that's coming up too. So it better move pretty quickly. It was only down 1.3% today, with the index down nearly 2, so not bad, not a bad performance. All right, software is hit and miss. Software is kind of driving me crazy. Spotify sliced its 50 today. I had to cut this one loose this week, along with CrowdStrike, because they're just not performing well. But you can see it's still, you know, consolidating within this base. But you know, slice to 50, and I can always buy it back if it decides to rally through. I just don't know how low it's going to go or how long this is going to last. So you know, just got to practice some risk management and take some off the table. And don't want to get killed out there. You don't want to get hurt. CrowdStrike is disappointing me too. Slice is 21. You know, still above that that low from that day of the breakout. Was it June 20th? I want to say June 10th. June 10th. Yeah. Okay. So the low. The high that day was 349. The low on the 10th was 367.10. Yesterday it got below it, 365. Today, 367.50. So it was an inside day for CrowdStrike, kind of a quiet day. You know, it's still, you know, if you look at it objectively, it's still just consolidating in a base. You know, it doesn't know that those moving averages are there. The 21, it's trading below the 21 inside day. I don't know if it starts to rally. I can always buy it back, and I want to see it break above the 394.64. And you know, it hasn't done it, so we'll just keep watching it. So ESTC, this is one that I don't think I had this on my ready list this week. I think I had it last week at the 111, and it got a little extended. Well, it pulled back earlier this week, and now the last couple of days have moved pretty nicely, up 4.5% today, up 5% on the week. So having a good week. And you can see on the weekly this consolidation pattern, how it's just you know, building the right side of this base with these you know, since this day, these higher lows, and now today making a nice high and closing near the high of its weekly range here on 98% of its weekly range. So ESTC is looking very strong. Had some decent volume today too. So hit and miss in the software names. Datadog pulled back to the 21 yesterday, found a little support. I wouldn't call that a bounce, but you know, it's stopped going down. How about that? And it's just consolidating within a base. And they report August 7th. So software, like I said, it's hit and miss. I've got to get to the drug stocks today because Pfizer came out and said they had weight loss drug. You know, I don't know. We need more weight loss drugs. We need more manufacturing companies to manufacture, because the demand is so great, and Lilly and Novo cannot meet the demand. So there's going to be more players. It's going to be a big space, massive space, and there's room for plenty of players. I know some people who wanted to get in Pfizer today because it kind of broke this downtrend line. But to me, I mean, it was up what, 1%, 30 cents. I mean, well, I don't think Wall Street's buying this drug, actually. Their tolerance was not very good. It would be one of the, if they come to market with it, which is a big if, it would be one of the weaker of the weight loss drugs. So not really competition. But it did spark a little bit of a sell-off in Novo Nordisk, because of the competition. And Novo down 2% like the index today, and it's down, almost 2% on the week, just still trading tight. The weekly closes have been right around 142 for the last 5 weeks. So it wouldn't surprise me tomorrow if it closed around 142. There you see last week it was 142.37, 142.74, 141.96. So all, there's 142.50. All during this, 6 weeks of trading sideways, it's just closing right around 142. So it wouldn't surprise me tomorrow if it, ran up a couple of bucks and closed near there, 141, 142. But, take them one day at a time. It did trade below its 21 today, so maybe it wants to take a trip to the 50, who knows? You always have to remain flexible and open-minded because anything can happen in the stock market. Yeah, right there at 1% below the 21. So we'll see what happens. Lilly, Lilly's a strong stock, much stronger than Novo right now, and it pulled back near its 10. It was down to, gosh, 918 today. I wish I would have added it 918, darn it. But anyway, it was down what, 0.5% on a day where the index was down too. So just pull back to its 10, found support and bounce because it closed 64% of its daily range. So that's a nice little bounce off that low of 918. So good for Lilly. Now Viking has a compound too. They're not coming to market. They're dragging their feet. I think they just want to get bought out. But it was up 1%. It wasn't bothered by Pfizer's news. I think it hit 60 and then pulled back. Yeah, 60.23 and then pulled back. So, but it looks like it's forming this bottoming pattern here. Viking looks, fine. Stopped going lower, so it's probably going to go the other way. EBS is another drug stock that I had to buy. I was going to put it on our ready list this week, and I didn't. I'm sorry I didn't. Up another 6% today, up 25% on the week. So it hit 10 and kind of got rejected there. See, it went above 1024, then came back a little bit, but it looks pretty darn strong to me. ADMA, another one that I had to buy small just because, I mean, I listened to their conference call. And I really like what they had to say. They're raising guidance. And obviously the big blue volume bars, somebody's buying this stock. It's not Aunt Sally or Aunt Sue or Uncle Joe. The institution's buying this thing. It was up another 2% today. And this is one of those small cap stocks, 2.8 billion market cap. So it's right in the wheelhouse of the Russell, the flight to the risk on trade. Another one is INSM, which is just, since it had news of a positive trial, I believe they're bringing the drug to market, man. This thing has just been a monster. Pulled back to the 21 one time and now just took off again. This thing has been crazy. It's up 10% this week. That's a good week by any standard. And Vertex, another one of these large companies with a broad portfolio, traded a new high today. And I like the pattern. When it made the 480, pulled back to the 21, kind of squatted there for a little bit and then took off. Looks good. Looks like we'll see if it can get through the 500 level or if that provides resistance. Anyway, I'm going to move on from the drugs. I got to go to the retail. I got to go to retail because retail has been a mess. But today, retail sales, I think, was out, the information. Anyway, it was really hit and miss. There was a lot of negative stuff. I'm not going to go to that. Just going to show ALF. It's going to drive people crazy, I think. If you're expecting it to make new highs, and just blast off, I don't think it's going to do that. It's going to wear you out. But anyway, it traded down to the 21 and then blasted off, then traded down to the 21. Then today, was up nearly 5%, but it was just an inside day, as you could see. And I don't think the volume's been any great shakes here on ELF, not at all. But, you got to acknowledge a 5% move when the index is, so bleak on the Nasdaq. BURL, I think I had this on our ready list last week, and I took it off because made a decent move, but man, today it took off like 4% move. So that's a nice move from Burlington. You think, oh my gosh, they make coats, right? But this is breaking out of what referred to as the old Darvis box, right? Where it just boxes in at these prices, consolidates, and then breaks above it. So usually when they do that, they go higher. We'll see if it can handle that 252 and make it up to 260 and continue with some aggressive buying there. But Burlington looks good. BJ and Costco, they look good, huh? BJ breaking out to new highs. And Costco, they said they raised their the membership fee or whatever, and they were down nearly 5% on that news. Kind of a strange move, sliced to 21. We'll see what happens with Costco. Once again, broke out, had a big run, so there's some profit taking there. ZUMZ, another winner from the retail space. Big cup with handle now breaking out. So that looks like a classic textbook breakout there on ZUMZ. And then Urban Outfitters, man, this stock's breaking out too. Out of this base here, you got to take a look at the weekly chart. Retail, apparel, shoes, and this one's breaking out of that consolidation. There was some other ones though, like Crocs. This thing's been having some real trouble. Pull back below its 50. Back to that old buy point, but it's just they're having a real hard time. The Deckers and since the Nike earnings report, these stocks are really having a hard time. So I'd stay away from them. That looks like a total avoid until they report earnings on the 25th, and they'll probably ram right through 1,000 and through all its moving averages. Because I don't think the story's changed there. All right, I got to go to the drug stocks. I shouldn't say drug, the medical product stocks. This is TMDX, traded down to its 50 yesterday, bounced nicely today, nearly 4% move. So I think that could be a gift area. I forget I think it traded on like 136 yesterday, 137, 134 today. So that's a nice, $9 move on TMDX. LNTH has just gone ballistic since that news yesterday. Wow, 123 it closed at. Fantastic. Usually when I see this, I have like a 3-day rule. There's 3 days of like short covering. And tomorrow is Friday, so you'll probably see it open higher, then sell off into the close. Look at that hammer. Oh, 56% move this week. Wow, fantastic. Small float, 67 million shares in the float. Short interest, it's about average. Not heavy. I wouldn't call that heavy, but man, another 16% move today after a 36% move yesterday. So congrats to the long. Somebody told me that was their largest holding. So good for you. Congrats. Anything with MED in it, GMED. GMED is Globus Medical breaking out of that little consolidation area today with a nice move. AMED, AMED or AMED. This one, if you look at the weekly here, yeah, nice little break out of this stage 1 consolidation, looks like. Medicis. And then the last one is MEDP. So anything with a med in it, it was in favor today. And this one's breaking out of consolidation as well. Should have had this one on my ready list. I had it on the, because of consolidation right here and the pullback to moving average, but I didn't because I want to keep my list shorter and more concise, and I kind of blew it this week. But that happens in trading. So MEDP won the got away. All right. So if they have MED in their ticker symbol, they're gold. All right, I'm just going to acknowledge, the insurance companies. I'm not going out and buying these, but Gallagher making new highs and breaking out of a base, making new highs. You have to acknowledge that. Aflac with the Nick Saban, Deion Sanders commercials. And this one's breaking out to new highs as well. My favorite is Bros, of course. Brown and Brown. Pretty good above the 21. And the one that was the growth stock that just fell out of favor. It was Oscar. Look at that, man. Breakout, making new highs, and then just cratering. That hurts. That's why you got to sell when they slice their 50s. You don't want to hang on to them and hope that they're going to come back. It might, but it might not. You're going to be losing money along the way. So Oscar looks awful. All right, I got to acknowledge some of the bank stocks. I don't want to, and I'm not buying these, but ALLY, Allied Financial, 12 billion market cap. You can see it's kind of gone sideways for a long time. Broke out today. Looks pretty darn good to me. And those larger banks like Morgan Stanley, another one that I was going to put on, but I didn't because it's slow and boring. But breaking out of a base today, looking pretty good. Goldman Sachs, another one that was consolidating, looked pretty good. Now it's breaking out. So yeah, these are big stocks, and they're going to report earnings soon. The 16th is when next, what, Monday, Tuesday? What's today? The 11th, 12th, 13th, Tuesday. And Wells Fargo's reporting tomorrow, I believe. Citigroup on the 12th. Yeah, so we're going to hear from these. So I wouldn't be touching these because you never know how they're going to react to earnings. All right. That's it for me today. There's a couple things though that I wanted to point out. One is these car parts. I don't know what's going on with these car parts. This stock was up 45% today. These electronic parts for automotive. Just pointing this out. And this is COHR. I had this on our ready list a while back, but it didn't move, so I took it off. But now it's moving, so making new highs. So I just want to acknowledge that. And yeah, in honor of the great Steve Jobs. The one last thing that I really want to point out are these small banks. And like I said, I'm not running out and buying these. I'm just pointing out that these are small cap, below 5 billion here, 4.3 billion market cap, kind of thinly traded. You can see they're, regional banks, Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Texas, breaking out of a base here. It was up nearly 5%. So you can see the volume here coming in. So this looks pretty good. Like I said, I'm not going out and buying it, but I'm just acknowledging some of these moves and some of these banks. Or this is Zion Bank. I actually do banking with these guys, breaking out of a long consolidation period there above the 46.15, just a standard, paint by numbers buy point there. And you can see there's a stage 1 breakout, and this is in a stage 1B or stage 2, and it's breaking out. So just acknowledging these banks here. SYF is another one. This one's a little larger. It's almost 20 billion, but this one broke out, trading higher. SNV, financial company, Southeast, and this is breaking out of consolidation as well. 6 billion market cap on that one. HTBI is Home Trust Bank shares, the Southeast again, North Carolina, 545 million market cap. So this is just a little flea of a company, up 5% today with big volume. So just pointing this out. IBCP, I don't even know. Oh, Michigan, okay, Midwest, all right. Very targeted, local to Michigan bank there, up nearly 4%. Just pointing it out, 580 million company, so very small bank. The other one was ABCB. This is Ameris Bank Corp. Southeast, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina. It's 3.7 billion market cap, breaking out. Big moves start with breakouts. So maybe this will make a big move, maybe not. But I think it's worth noting, up 11% this week. They're really small stocks. You get them near their buy points. It doesn't hurt to take a swing at them. If you're going to have your NVIDIAs and your Eli Lillys and your big stocks, you can have a couple small ones as well. Speculate. This is a CPF, Central Pacific Financial, and the Central Pacific, 27 offices throughout Hawaii. So look at the volume, 150 average daily, completely thin stock, 600 million market cap, so super small. And you can see the consolidation in the breakout. That's, this looks textbook here on all these stocks. EVR, Evercore. This is a little larger, 8.6 billion market cap. This is mergers and acquisitions, some M&A, divestitures, and restructuring. But this one broke out earlier and now is extended, 5.5% above its 10 EMA. So this one has been moving and looks good. And the last one is HTLF, our Heartland. Our folks in the Heartland, this is Dubuque, Iowa. Midwest, banks in the Midwest, $2 billion market cap. This is just perfect for the Russell 2000. You can see this consolidation here. Pull back to the 50 in the last 4 days, just been ramping higher, closing with the hammers. Those are three white soldier formations. So pretty bullish on this one. Yeah, if I was going to buy one, this one would probably be it. If I'm just going to, take a swing at a bank stock, they're going to earn $4.50. So, not much debt, a lot of cash flow, return on equity, not bad. Up down volume 1.8, so more buyers and sellers. Accumulation distribution rating is an A. I mean, this thing looks pretty darn good to me. So yeah, if I'm going to take a swing at one of these small cap bank stock, Heartland Financial USA is my stock, and it's not overly extended. I mean, it has, those three white soldiers. It is 6.1% above the 10, which is, curling higher, the 21 curling higher, and the 50 is just, been on a definite trend higher. So, just some ideas, just some thoughts. Like I said, I'm not going to run out and go buy a bunch of small cap stocks just because the Russell had a good day. I'm still sticking with my NVDA, and this is where you need to have, good entries. I talk about buying near bases, a lot, and this buy point was 97.40. And if you got it there, who cares if it trades down to 126 or 125, or, not going to hurt you. And you just want to find out where, when they pull back like this, you want to find out where they find support. It sold off 3 days, June 2021 and June 24. And Monday it pulled back to its 21, found support. Pull back again, found support. It's had a nice run here the last 5 or 6 days, but now it's pulled back. So, this thing's likely to find support, NVIDIA. And the other one, the other big kahuna in the drug stock is Eli Lilly, and that's well above its 10 EMA. Barely even got phased today. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. I'm going to have an early report tomorrow because I got to drive up to Phoenix. Anyway, see some friends in the morning, and it's hot up there. Wish me luck. At mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.